We are raising a cup of cafe con leche in memory of our son who passed away almost 9 years ago.
And grief is fresh
Well,
when in days like this.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
it is. You can kind of put it somewhere most of the time, but
Yeah.
every so often it kind of hits you across the head.
Yeah, like the day he passed away and his birthday.
Yep, exactly.
So they're always fresh grief days, that's for sure.
I'm going to do something a little different this time in this vlog. It would have been my son Ron's birthday. He would have turned 53 years old today. But next month, it'll be 9 years he passed away. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. I'm going to tell you a little bit about grief if I can get through this.
Wait a minute. And the reason why we decided to do this is we wanted to honor him because like we were talking about earlier, we don't honor him enough with words, with just talking about him.
Yeah.
Given, sharing memories.
And his daughter feels really strongly about this. This is for you, sweetheart. First of all, when he was young, he was a really shy little boy. He would hide behind my legs when strangers came in. He was just so shy. But then, as he got older, he got over it. But he was still kind of a quiet man. He had a really good sense of humor, but he had to feel very comfortable with you before he would let it go. But he was really funny and was really smart. But not everybody knew that of him, did they, honey?
No, because he was very quiet. Because whenever we were in a group setting, he would just sit back and be the observer. And, he'd chuckle here and there. And he did have a good sense of humor, but he just was kind of the laid back, sit in the corner and kind of watch it all happen kind of guy.
But he and I had so much fun. We just had so many laughs together. All throughout his younger years and all throughout high school, he was a very good athlete. He excelled in all types of sports. He was in wrestling and he was very good. And he was in baseball. And he was he was good at swimming. He was a wonderful water skier. He water skied on one foot, just the foot, not just the ski, but just the foot.
On 2 feet, Mom.
2 feet. He walked.
That's called barefooting.
He was a wonderful
Barefooter.
barefoot skier too.
Yeah.
He was very, very good at that.
Yeah.
And up at the lake, he and his buddy next door, and Kaylee too. I mean, they were all really great skiers. But when he passed away, my older son's first wife, Anna, wrote to me and said that Ron was such a kind and quiet man. We were close to her. We're still close to her.
As a matter of fact, we're going to stay with her in Norway about a week from now.
Yeah. But he loved to have fun. Some of the stories, moms don't hear them all, but some of them are really, he just let loose and had a lot of fun with everybody. So he was a great guy, and he loved his family. Some of the trips that we took.
Well, yeah, talk about the one that you guys went over to Norway.
They had a party for us, Ron and I, and then the neighbors came over, so it was just tons of people. Well, at that time of year, that was in June, I'm sure, and we had dinner and everything out in the terrace. And then it was light forever at that time of year in the summer, and I finally went to bed. Well, he came to bed really late, but he said that they were all having fun. They all really liked Ron. They just really enjoyed his company. And it got to the point where the sun was kind of coming up again, and they put him on a chair so that he could watch it come up. And it was just the thought of that just makes me smile.
Yeah, but you were saying that all the guys were really encouraging him to let loose and have fun, and they really paying attention to him. And if you paid attention to him, then he would open up and feel comfortable and blossom, and then his true personality would come out. That was a memory that he really, really enjoyed, of them taking him in as part of their own.
I was invited to a cousin's daughter's wedding out in Sacramento, California, so I asked Ron if he wanted to go. Yes, he did. I asked if Emma could go with us, his daughter. Yes, she could. So off we went, and we flew out and went to the wedding, and then we rented a car, the three of us, and we traveled all the way up the coast of California. But I remember one incident, well, many incidents, it was just gorgeous country. We traveled into the redwoods and we sat at a picnic table. We felt like ants with these huge trees around us, and we had our picnic. But we're coming back down, I think it's 101 is the coastal highway that goes up. And we're coming down, we're going around a curve, and just like that, there was a herd of cattle on the highway. And he was so adept at driving. I mean, he just stopped real quick and made us safe. I was so proud of him.
Good reflexes.
Yes, very good reflexes.
Yeah, he was a really good driver.
Because it was a dangerous situation. It really was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was wonderful memory especially for Emma and I now, all those things that we did together there. Another good one was when Dick and I and our 3 kids went to Estapa. And they had all gotten engaged.
Ixtapa, Mexico.
Yeah, they had all got engaged, and it was kind of your last trip together with unmarried kids. And we had so much fun. They had so much fun playing frisbee in the surf, and we danced at night and with the bands there, and it was really fun time because we love Mexico. So all of these things, of course, are just putting a whole lifetime into a nutshell of information. But again, today is his birthday, and it is a special time where I really miss my son. So I want to tell you about grief. I heard that our church was having a program called Grief Share, and what it amounted to was a 12-week program where anybody who had lost anybody in their family, anybody that meant something to them, could come. And there was a facilitator, and there was a workbook, and there was videos that you went through every week. And the thing there is because people say no, but they do get tired of tears dripping down your cheeks.
What do you mean?
Well, after a while, it's uncomfortable to cry, and I think it's uncomfortable for people to be at a table and all of a sudden you start crying or whatever, feeling bad. And that's okay, because people usually understand, but they don't know what to say, and it makes them uncomfortable, and you get uncomfortable after a while. You think, well, it's been a while. But for Grief Share, it could be 5, 10, 20 people sitting around a table, and you've all been there, and it's all raw for almost all of you. And so if you cry, there's probably 5 others that are doing the same thing. It's a very raw, emotional time. But it gets out all the things that you would love to say, maybe to everybody, but don't feel comfortable. Here was you're preaching to the choir, and it was a wonderful thing. And I have given this information to people all these years. Anybody I hear, go on Grief Share, because not only do they do that, but for 365 days in a row, they will email you something to think about, text and maybe the Bible that talks about comfort, a story from somebody that had found comfort in their sorrow. So it helps in every day.
Hola.
It helps every day. Go on Grief Share, I think it's .com or .org. The programs are not only in churches, they're in many different places. So you could also contact maybe Grief Share office and see where it would be in your community. But I'm telling you, it really is a wonderful, wonderful program to be in.
So talking about Grief Share, I went with Mom and Dad for, like 2 times in. They asked me to come, and I said, yeah, okay. And then I went, and then I ended up going the rest of the time, because it was really good to be able to talk with someone who just actually listened. So the thing about losing a sibling is that you don't get as much support as if you would have lost a parent or a child or a spouse. After Ron died, I remember going to coffee groups with the ladies, just different things that I would go to. And people would say, well, so how are you doing? And I'd say, well, yeah, I could, and I want to talk about it a little bit. And after a couple minutes, be like, yeah, so let me talk about my kids. And then they would, or let me talk about this. But as soon as someone in the group, as soon as their parent died, then they were organizing, meals for the family and funerals and who's going to go there and who's going to support and who's going to drive. And that's okay. It just kind of slapped me in the face, and I learned to adjust and accommodate my expectations And that was fine. And I'm not harboring a resentment at all. But I really learned who my true friends were in the process. And you know what? That's okay, because the older you get, you realize you don't need 50 million friends. You need just a handful who actually got your back in a situation like when your sibling dies. All this to say, if someone loses a sibling, please support them. Please do all you can to just sit down, add a coffee, take them out for coffee, take them out for dinner, and just say, talk to me. Tell me anything you want to talk about. Let's talk about memories. How's it going? How's your family doing? Just lend an ear. That's all people want in grief, is just to be heard.
Right.
They just want someone to listen.
It like dawned on me. None of us are exempt from anything. You know, you think, well, that happened to that one, or that happened to those people. You know, sometimes you have the feeling it can happen to you.
It can't happen?
It can't.
Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah.
And it was just like a slap across the head.
Can I interrupt you? I was, because I read a lot of grief books, and I've read a lot of stuff, a lot of self-help books. But someone was saying that there's a mentality of, why me? Why me when something bad happens? And his attitude, after all of his struggles and all of his grief and a whole bunch of stuff that happened with his family, he said, why not me?
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because we're all on this fallible earth. And why not? I mean, things are going to happen. And again, it's a matter of who's going to have your back and how are you going to be supported? Who can you lean on? Because we all need each other at some point.
Yep.
All of us in our friend circles, our family circles, we just need people.
Now, I'll have somebody come up to me and say, so-and-so lost a child, a week ago. Well, I can walk up to that person and I can give them a hug and a love, and I can whisper in the ear, I understand. God uses everything. He uses every hurt and sorrow that comes into our lives. And he has, because as I just said, it reflects back on the fact that I can go up to someone anymore and say, I understand how you're feeling. I understand how you're feeling. And if it's not so raw where you don't want to hear these words, it'll get better with time. An old cliche, but it's true. So, hopefully, this hasn't been the easiest thing to do, but hopefully...
Oh, it's right now?
Right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Ron deserves it. He deserves some memory. He deserves... I mean, we are in Mérida, Spain, and we are able to experience this as a family, and my other brother, Dave, is here, and we're all together, and the least we can do is throw some words out about Ron. So and just keep his memory alive.
Yes. And so the very end thing I think here is that he was a believer. He believed in Jesus. And the comfort to me, of course, is that I believe he's in heaven.
Yeah, and you did good, Mom.
Thanks.
Yeah, we did it without crying, but we had our sunglasses on just in case.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
You're a good one.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
You were an awesome mom to Ron, and Ron loved you to death and was a very good son to you.
Yeah, he was. He was.
And my dad, but he just happens to be resting up in the bedroom or up in the room right now.
And he isn't a man of words. He wouldn't say all of this, but he feels the same way because he and I, of course, have talked all of this out over the years. So.
Yep. So, all right. So here's to you, Ron. We love you.